Tuition is sponsored by Lick Library.
Hi, welcome to Tuition and welcome to the drum module. My name's Sam Rankin and this gentleman over here is Mr. Graham Fox, and he's been putting me through my drum paces and my head is pretty much about to explode. I must admit, Graham, I've got full of fills and rhythms and grooves and all kinds of stuff, but I am enjoying it.
Good.
Very, very much, and think I've found my new hobby, so my flatmates, watch out or move away. Okay, so what are we going to do today, Graham?
We'll just cover, first of all, the beat that we did last lesson, playing. We started off, obviously, with the slow 16th note grooves.
Yes.
That's a good way of getting your head round a beat and just seeing whether it sounds good. If you're making stuff up, just working from this kind of style beat, because it gives you plenty of time to think about where you're putting the snare and the bass. So I'll just demonstrate that. You get this kind of thing. Now what we did is to take out half of the hi-hat notes, and I'll show you what happens now. Now obviously that means that you can speed it up a lot more. So that sort of speed, quite hard to play 16ths in the hi-hat.
Yeah. Could you do it? Yeah.
But the thing is, the reason that we're just stripping things down and simplifying it is because obviously if you want to play faster, and I know pretty much every boy I've taught, not necessarily the girls actually, they're a little bit more disciplined and tend to play things slower because I tell them to. But the boys tend to rush off. Now I don't like to see that straight away, but once you've got it down, by all means, see how fast you can play it. As long as it grooves, that's the most important thing.
Like you said, make sure you get it right first before you attempt
absolutely.
to speed it up.
But I wouldn't suggest going through it, speeding it up like that. I'd just get a metronome on and just
That's quite a popular rhythm, that, isn't it?
It is. It's
you're doing.
pretty much the one that I hear every student playing. It's
Really?
like one of their favourite beats, as it were.
Okay.
And it's the one that we did last time. So let's see if just really slowly, we'll see how you can how you cope with it. Okay, so let's just go around it, and we'll just play it eighth notes over here on the hi-hat. All right, and we're going to do it really slow so that everyone can pick it up. So I'll count us in.
So if you're doing it at home, if I mess up, then you carry on.
3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. Good. So you get bass, bass, snare, 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 bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, 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 bass, snare. Good, excellent. And I see you've gotten used to using your left hand on the snare even when you take your right hand out, which is great.
Yeah.
Because obviously the right hand is used to play
The hi-hat.
hi-hats and the cymbal. So good. All right. First beat done.
Woohoo!
Okay. Now what I'm going
Good
to do
start
is
to the
just
lesson.
take over and just show you again how to break down 3 more beats using some 8ths and 16ths in the bass drum and snare drum. So
Okay.
the hi-hat's always just going to just stay the same. I think when you're learning, it's really important to take at least one instrument, one source, one sound source that you're using, and keep it the same.
Okay.
Whilst you change other things, if not 2. So we've been doing, most of the time we've been keeping hi-hat and snare drum the same. So you get either 1 E and 2 E and or 1 E and 2 E and then going right back to the beginning, we just had 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's pretty much stayed the same all the way through all the lessons, but now we're sort of adding extra notes here and there.
Yeah.
So focus on one thing being the same and the rest of it changing. So you've always got a bass, basically. All right, so the first beat we're going to learn, it's not too hard, I think, but it's going to be bass on 1, and we're going to do the first 2 beats. Bass on 1, and then the bass on of 1. So the first one comes with the hi-hat, so you get 1, then E, then and, then So it'll be 1, E, and Okay? Then on beat 2, you just get a snare drum on beat 2, and then the hi-hat on the ands. So 2, E, and Right? 2, E, and So let's take beat 1 first, bass drums.
Down.
So the first one's with a hi-hat, and the second one's just after the second hi-hat. Okay? 3, E, and let's do it together. 4, E, and 1, E, and Okay?
No.
Nearly. Exactly. So I'll give you another count in. 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and exactly. 1, E, and 2, E, and 1, E, and 2, E, and 1, E, and 2, E. Okay, right. So, all you have to do, for anyone at home as well, is just slow it down. So I tell you what, I'll just take it through. You can sit and take a rest.
I think today I might just take a back seat and watch.
Okay. So we'll imagine that the people at home have had the same problem that you've had. All you need to do is just slow it down just a bit more
And simplify it.
Well, I think that's as simplified as as simple as I'd like it to be, really. But just take it as slowly as you need to. Even just sort of thinking 1, E, and 2, E, and and I know a lot of people will be thinking, God, that's really slow. That's so slow. Why should I bother? Well, you're pretty much guaranteed to get it in the right place at that speed. And if you can't, and you're not getting it in the right place, then you've got to take it slow again, because you're still, And then as you speed it up, it'll just feel really natural. So we're going to take it at that speed. So 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, E, and 2, E, and around that again. 1, E, and 2, E, and 1, E, and 2, exactly. 1, E, and 2, E, and 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 good. 1, E, and 2, E, and So that's it. But you got it about 3 or 4 times,
I don't know what's going on. I think I've kind of crash coursed my drum head too much, and I'm now just hearing all different kinds of actually going drum mad.
But 3 and 4, beats 3 and 4 sound like this. Bass drum goes on the and of 3, snare on 4, and then bass drum on the E of 4. So I'm just going to play beats 3 and 4. It'll sound like this. And I'll count in beats 1 and 2. So you'll hear 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and so that's the idea. And I would again urge people at home to at least look at the visuals at the bottom of the screen, even if they're learning it by ear, just to check to see what it looks like. Okay? So once you've done that, and you've done the first half and the second half,
right?
If beats 2 and 3 were hard to link up, which they're not in this particular beat, you might think about breaking that down and just doing beats 2 and 3 round and round. So you start from beat 2 and it would sound like this. 2, E, and 3, E, and so that's obviously I've just showed it's not the hardest 2 beats, but maybe beat 4 to 1, because obviously you've got to go beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. If you can play beats 1 and 2, great. If you can play beats 3 and 4, great. But you've also got to find the link between beats 2 and 3, and then 4 back to 1. So this 4 to 1 is actually quite hard. It's going to sound like this. I'll give 2 beats in again. 2 E, and 3 E, and 4 E, and 1 E, and So that's the hardest bit.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go round that 2-beat shape, and if you can just leave me to it because this one's hard.
Fine.
So 2 beats in, 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and. So you've got that. What you can do then is either practice adding the next beat, so you put beat 2 in, or just go for the whole 4 beats and hopefully you've already got it. But just any way that, you know how we've broken down things different ways, stripping it back down to just the bass drum, or just the bass drum and snare drum, and just working through different combinations so that you can really get the beat inside of your head.
Okay.
Counting and then just vocalizing it, so you might just go boom, boom, ga, boom, ga, and just get that going round. If you've got it up here, the likelihood is eventually it will come out here.
Again,
Eventually.
in theory.
So I'm going to try going around the whole beat now so that everyone can play along at home.
Okay.
3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4. She's having a go. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and now.
I was going to do the bass and snare,
Yeah.
actually.
But, you know, we're going back to the 8th notes.
We've got to go to the break. Did you see the concentration? We will see you after the break. I hope you're as intrigued as I am. See you in a bit. Bye.
Tuition is sponsored by Lick Library. Tuition is sponsored by Lick Library.
Welcome back to Tuition, and that is the drum module. Now, if before the break you saw me getting a little bit frustrated, and I actually managed to thrash these babies out in the break to get my frustration out. So I'm going to put the sticks down now because we are getting quite complicated, aren't we? And as much as I'd like to think I'm the next Sheila Ray, I ain't. So we're going to just not yet. It's going to take a couple of years, but we're going to just pass over to you, and you're going to sort of start to explain a few more advanced exercises for us, aren't we?
Basically, we're just before we do, what I'd like to show is how you can just then, once you've got the 2 beats that we've done in the first half, just put them together and see how they sound. You know, they don't always fit together particularly well, but this time we'll take the first 2 beats and we'll see how they sound together. So let's just hear them. 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So that sounds pretty good together, right?
Yeah, it does. It sounds really, and it sounds quite like you said, a common groove. That people
Yeah, if I
learn
play it a
and
bit
play.
faster, you'll probably get a better picture of how
Yeah.
it sounds. So if I just play like this.
I want to do that.
So, again, practice slowly,
Yeah.
and then you can just launch into that, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you'll find that you can actually do it.
Cool.
So, 2 more beats that we're going to learn with 16th and 8th notes in the bass and snare today are as follows, and these get pretty hard. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the series about different techniques with the bass drum pedal, and it's something that I haven't talked about technique very much at all. In
Not
fact,
really,
I've barely
no.
mentioned it, and part of the reason is because I just want everyone just to have a few beats to play, some fills, and just to be able to sort of muck around really and get into it.
I suppose
And if-
technique is when you become a little bit more advanced,
Well,
and then you
yeah,
start getting intricate. Don't
The
you,
sooner
about
you get onto
things.
it, the better really, because obviously if you start learning bad habits, that's no good thing. But there are techniques that you really have to have a reasonable grip of reading, and well, if you choose to read, or at least an idea of how beats are put together before you start thinking about the technical side of things. I think just because it sucks the fun out of it otherwise. If you're working on technique and you haven't got a clue how to play a beat, when you get home, the only thing that you actually have to do is technique, and it's like only giving someone scales on the piano and no
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
Really, that's the way I view it. So technique is really important, but just get playing first of all and then address it. But just don't leave it too long, otherwise you'll get really bad habits. But the whole
Piece
bass
of
drum,
advice, Mr. Fox.
the whole bass drum thing, which I mentioned at the beginning of the series about heel down and heel up.
Ah, I remember that was like first
so
or second.
the first
episode,
one-
I think.
Yeah. If you're playing a beat like this, for example, 3 E and a 4 E and a. Where you can hear there's bass drums are coming
Dum.
quite quickly, aren't there? There's 2 16th
Dum.
notes there joined together, so you get the kind of dum dum gat gat dum gat
Good.
gat. Now,
Dun, dun.
I tend to play most of my playing is played heel down. Okay.
Right.
And effectively what you're doing, if I just show you with my hands, here's the pedal, and because obviously, I'll do it that way. There's the bottom of the plate, and there's the bass drum pedal, so it would hinge like that, so it's coming away like that.
Yeah.
And the plate rises up like that.
Yep.
So when your foot's on it, usually if you're playing heel down, you keep this is a heel, keep it in contact with the pedal, and it'll just do that all the time. And you shouldn't really be at any point, whatever technique you've got, just lifting your foot off all the time, because you're actually completely out of control of the pedal. once you
Yeah, I've
take it
actually
off.
found that.
Yeah,
Just
and
have
as
a
soon
little
as you
mind
put
of
it
its own.
down, the pedal bounces immediately, and then you've got to control the pedal and then put it down. So I try and make my students keep their foot, at least part of their foot, in contact with the pedal all the time. But if you're doing heel up, effectively what you do is people play this different ways. There's no one hard and fast rule. But
Okay.
keep your toes in touch with the pedal. And what you do is you play the first one down like that, and then bring your heel back up again, and then on the second one drop down so that your heel ends up on the floor. And if we can get a close up of that,
Okay.
what you'll see is heel up here, you lift up, drop the foot down, and then the second time you put your foot down.
I think
Now
we can
some
see
people-
that actually. Yeah.
Some people will play both without letting their heel actually drop at all.
Right.
It's personal taste, really.
Okay.
Okay, but if I'm playing heel up, I often drop on the second note, so you'll get that, so that it drops down, and you get a heavier second note. And when you're playing any 2 bass drum thing together, when you're practicing, aim to make the second note louder than the first. Okay, so you really, whether you're playing heel down, lean into it so that you get the heavier
Yeah, 'cause
second
you need
one.
the weight, don't you, a bit?
But what happens is it just gets your leg used to lifting back up again, because a lot of people will say, why is the second note not coming out? It's 'cause
Do you know what I
you haven't
found as
lifted your
well? I mean, I
foot.
don't know if this is just me being a bit of a wuss, which it probably is. I've actually felt, since I've been doing this, it kind of...
Starts
obviously the
hurting your shin.
muscles, the
Yeah.
shins are starting
It's
to
just
ache slightly,
Practice.
which
And-
is
and-
fine as long
But
as that's meant
another
to
thing,
happen.
another thing actually, it's not just practice. Sometimes you'll find that it's just your posture and the way that you're sitting at the kit. You remember I mentioned if you've got your legs right around like this,
Yeah.
and you're putting loads of strain here, or maybe you're sitting too high or too low, any of these different things can really affect how your muscles react, because obviously you're putting them through new things anyway.
Yeah.
You're finding out that you've got muscles that you never knew existed.
Definitely, goodness me, yeah.
And you forget that your body is not invincible.
No.
You know, you've got to sit reasonably well, otherwise you're just going to get bad.
And all around here, I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
waiting for someone to offer to give me a nice massage or something, because I can actually feel it. I mean, obviously it's all good because you're working on your muscles, but it doesn't half hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Hot bath at the end of the night, I'm afraid.
So
Okay.
with the bass drum stuff, as you aim for the second note, if it's louder, as you get faster, what you'll find is that they just even out, because it's just getting your leg used to moving fluently. And remember the exercises that we went through. If you look at the second, go back and rewind the video, go back to that, and looking at the second column of all the exercises, they're all just bass drum. And if you go through those, just working through from here. That gets you used to playing all the different placements and just used to playing 16th notes with two coming in quick succession, So they're really great exercises. Once again, I can't stress enough how much people should practice that particular exercise that we went over a few shows ago. Have we got time to learn one more beat, do you think?
I think we've got, go on then.
Okay.
Let's
So
whiz through it.
as we've talked about putting two bass drums in a row on, for example, the 1 and the E, we'll just use one of those right now. So first two beats again is going to be 1 and the E, then the snare on 2, and then bass drum on the A of 2. So you'll get this. 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and so what E and just try maybe just doing the
Bass and
and the
snare.
snare, yeah. 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4
Double.
E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and very good. All right, beats 3 and 4 sound like this. You get the E of 3 on the snare, A of 3 on the bass, beat 4 on the snare, and then the A of 4 on the snare again. She's put her sticks back down. Quite enough. Okay, so beats 3 and 4 with a 2-beat count in the beginning. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and now that's hard. But actually all you have to think is in between for the first two, then together, and then in just at the very end you stick another snare drum just after the hi-hat. So the first two go in between, 3 E and then together 4 E and so 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and
Guess what?
we run out of time.
So just quickly plays the whole groove. Very
Okay,
quickly.
I'll play the whole groove. It sounds like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and
Mr. Graham Fox is a legend. I need to go and have practice. You're going to play us out. What are you going to play?
Well, we haven't had any rocky kind of stuff
Get it
yet,
done then,
so here we
matey.
go.
We'll see you soon. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next module.
M Tuition is sponsored by